Despite my small channel, a lot of people are reaching out to me for advice in buying their first camera. Now, this is a very difficult question because I don't really know if it's for videography or photography. If you wanted to buy your first camera, I can imagine that you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on your first piece of gear, since there is still a chance you might not like the hobby or profession as a content creator at all. So I decided to dedicate this video about budget cameras and recommend 5 cameras under $500 on the used market. That being said, let's jump into the video. Number 1. The Canon M50. This Canon M50 has proven its worth throughout years. It's rated right now as one of the best cameras to start out your photography or videography career. It has 4K video capabilities, and with its 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, it's more than enough to practice your photography skills. It shoots pictures in RAW. This means you have all the options to color grade your pictures as you wish. The picture quality is really good, and for a price under $500 used with a nice lens that comes with it, it's a perfect package to start out your photography career. When it comes to video, it can record in 4K, but when you want to record in slow motion, for example, then it comes with an extra crop factor. Now, this kind of sucks when you want to capture a wider shot, which means you lose a lot of that wide angle. But overall, if you want to create videos for social media, for example, then it shouldn't be such a big problem. It's 2023 and my clients are still asking for projects in 1080p, so don't worry about this. The camera has a microphone input, which is very handy if you want to record external audio straight into the camera. Next up is one of my favorites, the Fujifilm XT2. Normally I'd go with the XT3, but that's still above our budget, unfortunately. This 24 megapixel camera produces amazing pictures and colors which can't be achieved by other camera brands. It's made in Japan, which results in an exceptional build quality, and the camera just looks great because of its vintage camera aesthetics. This can result in some people asking if you're shooting with analog cameras, but you know better. It is possible to use custom film settings, which is the biggest reason why Fujifilm is so popular nowadays. Just go to Fuji X Weekly, pick your favorite recipe, and you're good to go. You can record in 4K, and now with the new update you can use a log profile. This is very handy if you want to learn how to color grade your footage. I have the Fujifilm XT3, which is his younger brother, and after 4 years of heavy usage, it still works like an absolute boss. You know who can be an absolute boss too? You, by subscribing to the channel. It helps me out greatly to keep on making these videos to help you out on your journey on becoming a photographer or just keep you entertained. Thank you. Camera number 3, the Sony A6000. This was my first serious camera ever. With my hard-earned money, I bought a Sony A6000. At the time, that was the perfect camera for me. Great for photography and great for videography. It was a favorite of many YouTubers at the time, and it was a logical choice for me to start with this one. It was released in 2014, and for today's standards, it can still compete with the newer cameras. It has 24 megapixels, plenty enough to show off your sharp pictures after a holiday, for example. The autofocus is great, but I'd still recommend to learn how to use manual focus when you shoot video. About that, the A6000 was mainly used for video. It can shoot up to 60 frames per second in Full HD, and it's perfect to learn B-roll. The downside is there's no microphone input, but to me at the time that wasn't so much of an issue. I just recorded my audio with an external recorder. It's perfect for those who want a lightweight camera, wants to shoot high quality pictures and videos, but who don't want to spend the bigger bucks. Camera 4, the Fujifilm XT20. The Fujifilm XT20 combines the powerful performance of the XT2 with the convenience of a much more compact body. This one also has 24 megapixels and can record videos up to 4K. It has the same capabilities of its bigger brother, the XT2, but there are some differences. For example, it's not weather sealed, so if it's raining, that might break the camera. It's much more plasticky, but this can be a benefit as it's much more lighter than its bigger brother, the XT2. It has only one card slot, whether the XT2 has room for 2 SD cards. Overall, the Fujifilm XT20 is targeted towards the beginner photographer, whether the XT2 is more professional. But you can pick this up for way less, so this means you can buy a nice lens to go with it for $500. If you are a beginner photographer, you won't even notice the differences between the two. It's a great camera nonetheless that I'd still highly recommend. Camera 5, the Canon 5D Mark II, which is the oldest camera of the bunch. As I was starting out, Canon was dominating the game, especially their 5D flagship models. In 2009, the Canon 5D Mark II was their top-of-the-line camera and it was an absolute workhorse. For the money, you'll get a full-frame camera, and it's basically the only full-frame camera I've added here on the list. This basically means you'll get a larger sensor. There are still many YouTubers and wedding photographers who still shoot with this thing, simply because it's so reliable and robust. When it comes to video, you can still get quite good results. It shoots up to 1080p, which is more than fine. And here's a fun fact: the final episode of House MD was shot completely on the Canon 5D Mark II. And to me, 19 years later, I couldn't say, hey, that wasn't shot on a cinema camera. This proves that lighting and general knowledge of cinematography is way more important than the camera you're using. And with that being said, let's conclude the video. I want to thank you so much for watching. It could be that I've left out 1 or 2 cameras that you would recommend. And if I did, then please point them out in the comments down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see each other in the next video. Bye bye.